What's up, people? In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about my sales background. I'm going to tell you the top 10 things that I learned from working in sales, specifically the beauty industry, specifically in face-to-face retail sales, which I did for about 7 years on and off. So basically for 7 years on and off, I was working in kiosks selling either cosmetics or hair products to women. It was commission-only sales. It was, people are not lining up to make purchases from your kiosk. It's rare even that somebody stops to look. Okay, so like people would walk by, say, "Excuse me," try to stop them. They know the deal. They know you're trying to sell them something. They've been to the mall before. Hard to stop them. You got to develop all these little tricks. I might, depending on how this video does, like I can't imagine that like the desire to learn how to make sales at kiosks on YouTube is so great, but I could make some videos about it, if people are interested. I don't know, are you? Maybe, yes, no? Let me know in a comment. Are you interested in learning how to sell at kiosks? Yes or no? Let me know. Anyway, I did this for a very long time, 7 years, which is long enough to learn a lot about it and to get pretty good, because I wanted to be good. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to tell you the top 10 things that I learned from working in sales and specifically the beauty industry. Number one. The customer is not always right. The customer is always lying, okay? Different than what you hear in like all these business books, but you have to always kind of assume, and I was fortunate enough to learn this from an experienced salesperson on one of my first days on the job. When you're a new salesperson and you're talking to a customer and they tell you something like, "Looks great, I love it, I'm gonna ask my husband," or "Looks great, I love it, I left my wallet in my car, I'll be right back," or "I gotta go to the ATM," or "Let me just go to the bathroom first," or like any reason, anything other than "Yes, I will take it right now, here's my credit card," is a lie, okay? Now, okay, fine. Is it really a lie? Maybe. You have to kind of assume that it is a lie in order to increase your chances of making a sale. Okay, am I saying that they lie 100% of the time and they're bad people and like you should like physically steal their credit card from them and make the sale yourself? No. But in order to, let's say, have the greatest chance for success in sales, I would recommend that you assume that whatever reason that they gave as to why they are not going to buy right now is either a stall, right? Which is basically like, "I like it, it's cool, I still haven't really wrapped my mind around the fact that like I have to exchange money for it," or an outright lie, which is more like, "I don't really want to buy it, but I don't want to tell you that because there's some other reason that I haven't told you," right? We can get into like specific sales tips later if anybody has any desire for that at all. But first thing that I learned is that customers pretty much always a liar, and you could extrapolate this to normal people as well. Like people lie, like how many times a day do you lie, right? Like everything is a lie. So people lie a lot, basically. Number two, in order to succeed, you have to see the customer as a dollar sign and not as a human being. Okay, again, this sounds very cold. This sounds very opportunistic and manipulative. But if because when I first started, when I was a new salesperson, I think of myself as a nice person. I'm an empathetic person. I don't like to see people in pain. I don't like to hurt anybody, I guess. And you could make the argument that if you're talking to somebody who only has $300 in their bank account, you probably shouldn't try to sell them $150 worth of stuff or $200 worth of stuff or $300 worth of stuff, because they're a human being. They're going to buy food. They got to buy other things with that money. You probably shouldn't pressure them too much to buy it, right? However, the most successful people in any company that I had ever worked in, where I was not always one of them, to be fair, were always people who saw customers as dollar signs and not as human beings. Now, of course, to be fair, they also made most of their money selling to people that had a lot of money. They did not make their money making sales to people who only had $300 in their bank account. That's not how you make the money. However, the way you make the money is by having the mentality of, "I'm going to get as much out of this person as possible, regardless of, how bad I feel or how much I pity them or whatever the case may be." I really only realized this the last time I did kiosk sales, when I had my own business, right? I had my own business. I was responsible for the expenses. I was responsible for any costs paid. And I knew that every day that I went to work, if I did not put at least between $400 and $500 in the cash register, I would lose money that day. So I lowered my, I don't know, I won't say I reduced my morals, but like I tried a lot harder, let's say, I believed more that they were liars and less that, they really needed the money or didn't have the money or whatever. I pushed a lot harder. Number 3, all women are insecure about how they look, right? Might seem obvious, but I remember when I would sell really anything, one of the tricks, I guess, or, in order to sell something, you need to create a need for whatever you're selling if a need does not already exist. So for example, let's say you're selling cosmetics, facial creams and stuff to get rid of wrinkles and stuff like that. What I would do is I would take I would take a mirror, right? And any of you ladies who have ever been to a department store and bought, cosmetics or makeup, what they do is they sit you down in front of a mirror and they have those mirrors that are like, there's a mirror on one side that's normal, and then you flip it over, and it's like one of these like mirrors that like zooms in on your face and shows everything much bigger than what it is. So what I would do is I would hold up the mirror to these people, and I would say, okay, what I want you to do, I want you to look at your face, and I want you to tell me the biggest problem that you want me to solve right now with your face, with the skin on your face, right? That's how I would start every demo. Right? And they would say, oh, these wrinkles at my eyes, like wrinkles on my forehead, blackheads on my nose, whatever. And then based on what they said, I would show them an appropriate product, and I found that to be very successful. Had some mixed results with that. I wasn't too good at selling cosmetics, especially during that time period. I was much better with the hair, which is generally easier to sell anyway. But I was pretty much guaranteed to make a fairly decent amount of sales with that strategy, because I created a need for it. Regarding hair, it's a little bit more fun, but still what you would do is you would sit a woman in front of a mirror where she has to look at herself. Maybe she didn't put on, even if she's all done up, she's still going to you're naturally going to look at your own imperfections, right? You're going to notice a freckle here that nobody else notices. You're going to notice a line here, or like, whatever, a stray hair maybe, or something like that, or your hair is dry or dirty, like stuff nobody actually notices except for you. But you sit somebody in front of a mirror and they're going to notice those things. Does that mean they're insecure about how they look? I think that it does, because some people maybe are less insecure about that, but I think women arguably place more importance on looking good than men do, because they are judged more completely on their appearance, as opposed to men who may be judged on status and whatever other stuff, right? Number 3, or what are we on, 4? Telling a mother that you thought her and her daughter were sisters never gets old. Okay, so like the ideal combo for customers that you can stop, like where you have a very high likelihood of making a sale, is a mother-daughter combo, right? Any of you ladies with daughters out there, or generally like women who have daughters in general, are more feminine, I've noticed, whereas women who have sons are like, they are less feminine, right? Like women who have sons more likely to like wear like a big t-shirt with like mom shoes and mom jeans and like a no-name brand purse. Whereas women who have daughters more likely to have their hair done, have their nails done, have like name brand clothing, and put more time into making sure that they are done up, right? I don't know why, make whatever conclusion from that you want, but if you stop a woman with her daughter, you do the demo on the daughter, right? If you do the demo on the mom, the daughter will get bored, right? But if you do the demo on the daughter will be engaged, because teenagers in general are more easy to, like, your lines work better on teenagers because they're not bitter about the world yet. They don't understand that, like, they understand what the world is really like. Whereas like a grown woman, like, she's been around, she knows the deal. So the teenager will be engaged, and the mom is not going to leave the teenager there. She's going to stay. Like, she's not going to leave her like 15-year-old daughter with some random guy like touching her hair in the middle of the mall. Absolutely not. So you're able to use the teenager and play on the teenager's tendency to get excited easily about something, and basically beg her mother for whatever it is that she wants. Like, for example, if I showed the teenager, like, let's say I demoed a curler on a teenager's hair who's got like dead straight hair, and I did a perfect curl or some nice waves or something, I knew there's a very good chance of me making a sale if the daughter gets very excited and she turns around immediately to her mom and says, "Mom, can we get it?" Right? Like, which happened a lot, right? Girls are spoiled rotten. Sorry, ladies, but like, a lot of you were fucking spoiled rotten. Like, people just buy shit for you, like, especially when you're growing up as a kid. Guys, not so, I don't know, maybe guys are too, but like, girls definitely. And the mom would use a 2, right? And if you give them a 2-for-1 deal, you let them pick. It's you have a lot of things working in your favor when you make that sale, or when you try to make that sale. It doesn't work all the time, but it's a good combo. Okay. And to get the mother warmed up, you say, you guys are sisters, right? No, that's my mom. She's my daughter. And you're like, oh my God, really? You guys look identical. Like, you get so good. Like, you deliver the same line 10 times a day, every single day for years. Like, you're going to get very good at acting those lines out. Oh my God, I just spit on my screen. Anyway, it's a great way to warm up the mother and the daughter. Even if she knows it's a line, even if she knows you're full of shit, even if it's clear that they don't look anything like sisters at all, it never gets old. Men are more impulsive shoppers than women. This is number 5, which is true. Men are much more impulsive than women when it comes to shopping. A man, if he likes something and he's at the mall and he doesn't like going to the mall and he's with a girl or even by himself, like, there's 2 types of guys, right? You have guys who like enjoy shopping, who will like go to the mall and they'll like go to their favorite stores. Basically, they kind of act like women when they buy clothes, right? They'll try things on and they'll like see how things look, and they're more like fashion oriented maybe, right? And then you have guys, like your typical like, working man or dad or husband, who's just like wants to get in and out as soon as possible, doesn't want to spend any more time there than he has to, and will buy the first acceptable item that he sees so he can get out of the mall because he hates the mall. So that means they're much more impulsive, right? And they also generally have more money because men are more likely to work than women. Not only are they more likely to work, they're more likely to work a serious job. Sorry, ladies. And they're more likely to take their career seriously, whereas women who go to the mall generally are not. In my experience, that has been the case. You can argue with that, call me a chauvinist or whatever, but that's experience doesn't lie, okay? So men are more impulsive than women, and if you stop, let's say, a couple, right, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, you'll notice that the woman will kind of hem and haw, and she'll like drop these subtle hints that she likes it, right? She'll be like, ooh, that's kind of, she'll like touch the curl, like, that's kind of nice. Oh, I kind of like that. Here, feel it. Does it feel good? Because like I'm like playing it up, like it makes your hair softer. It feels really good. She's like, feel it, honey. What do you think? And the husband's like, oh God, like I don't know. It feels good. It feels like hair. It's like what I was always hear. And the problem is that the woman is trying to drop these subtle hints so that she does not get blamed, let's say, or have to take any responsibility for pressuring the husband to buy it for her, even though he's totally willing to buy it for her if she wants it. He doesn't give a shit. Like, he doesn't care. He'll fucking pull out his credit card, buy that shit like that if she actually wants it. But the issue is that she does not want to have to take responsibility for convincing him that she wants it, right? Maybe she wants to buy something else. Maybe she doesn't want to be indebted to him, right? Like later on in an argument, maybe she wants to buy something else, and she's preventing an argument. Well, I just bought you that hair straightener for $200. And she's like, well, I didn't tell you to buy me that. You bought me that because you wanted to, right? So you have to kind of diffuse these situations by bringing these hidden sentiments to light in a way that you have to do it in a very casual way, because otherwise if people see that you're reading into it too much and you bring it to the surface too aggressively, then you'll blow the sale, because people will be like, oh God, like he's right. I want to avoid that argument, and they just extract themselves from the situation or lock themselves up to it completely, without really listening to you from that point on in the demo. It takes a little bit of finessing. Most women are bad with money. Number 7. Yeah, straight up. Like, ladies, you are bad with money. You are really bad, right? Like, many times, I even wondered this myself, but when I would do this job, I would occasionally talk to other men, and they would say, I would tell them what I do. I sell hair straighteners, I sell curlers, and they're like, well, don't they already sell those at like CVS or Walmart or like Walgreens or whatever the equivalent of like whatever country or state I was in? Like, don't they already sell those for like $20 or $30? And I'd be like, yeah. And they're like, aren't there like 6 hair salons in the mall that you work in? I'm like, yeah. And don't they sell those there too? Yeah. Can't they buy those online cheaper? Yeah. But it's still sold every day, hundreds of dollars in the cash register as a result of me and the words that I said every day. Sometimes thousands of dollars were put into that cash register as a result of words that I spoke to people who had no idea who I was, never heard of my brand, had absolutely no intention that day of buying a straightener or a curler or anything to do at all. Maybe just went to the mall just looking, maybe just went on their lunch break, Yet, as a result of what I did, I was able to convince 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people they should give me money in exchange for this tool in this box that they could literally buy in, a dozen stores, if not several dozen stores within a 5-mile radius of where we were at that time. Anyway, I guess it's unfair for me to say that women are bad with money. That's an arguably unfair conclusion to draw from that. However, should you buy it there from a nice, charming, smooth salesman, or maybe better to do a little research? And again, not saying that I sold to everybody, but in my experience, women generally are broke a lot more than men. They will generally be in negative balance more than men. Will generally actually not have any money to spend on anything more than men. Men, it's rare that we actually go broke. Like the guy who is broke as a man is like chronically broke loser, right? Whereas with women, it's much more common for them. And I'm not just talking like poor women either. I'm talking like women who have jobs, who have like steady paychecks and full-time income. Not uncommon for them to spend all of their money on their appearance, getting their hair done, getting their nails done, buying clothes, going out, buying alcohol, buying food, and just the money's gone. They don't have any money. It's common. Women will buy from you if they like you. Also true, kind of related to the last point. I guess this is number 8. If you, and this is true about men as well, arguably more true about men than women. I knew lots of women who worked in cosmetics who sold a lot to men. What they would do, they stop a man, maybe like a working man or something, or a husband, probably doesn't get the type of attention from his wife that he used to get, or a single guy doesn't get any attention from girls at all, probably has a job, nothing to spend his money on. All of a sudden you have this attractive girl, or sometimes very attractive, sometimes semi-attractive, or sometimes not attractive at all, just pushy girl who like stops you in the mall, starts touching you, sits you in a chair, starts like applying some cream to the bottom of your eye very gently, in a very feminine way, maybe even a little motherly, applying the cream here, maybe touching your shoulder. Oh my God, your muscles are so big. What do you do, right? These girls, they know how to work it. These Israeli girls, man, you better count your fingers when you're done. Anyway, they sell a lot to men, right? With women, it's a little bit more challenging, even though as a man, I would say you have an advantage when selling to women because there is that element of sexual attraction. But still, women are, they have less money generally. And even though they are bad with money, they are more likely to weigh the risks of making a purchase more than a man would. Men are more willing to take risks in general. A woman, when she's going to spend $200-300, less likely to make an impulsive decision without thinking about it, or at least giving the appearance that she thinks about it in order to satisfy her own desire to avoid risks, if that makes sense. However, if they like you, more likely that they will part with their hard-earned money and hand over their credit card. And as you are ringing them up at the cash register, make a comment like, this better work at home like it worked on me just now, better do what you said it does. Don't worry, of course it will. If you have any problems with it, just come see me. I'll be happy to help you out. All right, which was true. I'd be happy to help them out. But after bonding with you for 15 minutes or so and becoming your friend, much less likely that they're going to angrily return and blame you for not being able to do what you did with an identical product to what they took home. Okay, some people came back. Especially when I had my own business, I took a much more, even though I was more aggressive, I was also more customer service oriented in that if anybody had any problems, they should bring it back and I would either replace it for them or show them how to use it properly, which happened, not a lot, because honestly, I think a lot of these people just took it home and never used it, just threw it in their closet and forgot about it. But I would get people who would come back and, ask for a lesson, and I'd happily do it for them, maybe sell them something else. Okay, the bigger the smile, the bigger the sale. All right, I had a manager who I worked with who would literally smile like a mental patient. I am talking I have to move my headset right? That to me, as I did that, felt fake. It felt like a fake smile. I didn't really feel like I was actually happy. But to you, it probably looked like a real smile, right? I probably looked happy. If I smiled like that to somebody on the street, they would probably smile and they would probably respond if I spoke to them, which is easily forgotten by a beginner salesperson, because when you smile like that, you have to literally smile like you just escaped from a mental institution. And he would do that, and he had this little wave where he'd kind of close his hand And he had this like froggy voice because he smoked too many cigarettes. He'd be like, "Hi, how are you, miss?" He would talk like that. Crushed it every day, every single day, crushed it. And he had an ego, right, where like he had to be the best every day. He had to sell the most every day. He would stay sometimes an hour, 2 hours after the mall closed just to prove that he could sell more than whoever had sold the most that day. Insane. One of the secrets to his success was smiling like an insane person, right? And he was not a nice, friendly, gentle person at all. I mean, he was friendly, he smiled a lot, but like he was, you know, again, like you had to like count your fingers when you walked away from a handshake with him, even as a coworker, right? Like, fine, he's not gonna like steal from you or anything, but like there's this whole attitude in sales, like where you have to come out better than the other guy, right? In some way, whether it's like, I remember, this sounds really bad, but I remember when we used to work in, or when I would do, selling hair straighteners, if the person didn't buy from me and I'm like doing their hair as we're talking, trying to sell to them, if it became clear to me that they were not gonna buy, I would literally do half of their hair and leave half of it normal. And like when I would let them tell me no, I'd be like, okay, no problem. And I'd like, my way to get rid of them was like to give them a high five. Like, okay, cool, high five. And I would like kind of walk away, take the clip out of their hair, and they'd be like, but it's only half done. You're not gonna do the rest? And be like, sorry, I'm not allowed to. It's company policy. And be like, oh, so insulted. Like half their hair is these like little Shirley Temple curls and the rest is just like their normal hair. Whatever. Anyway, a lot of passive aggressive stuff like that. Saturday is number 9. Saturday is the best day of the week for sales. If you have a business in retail, Saturday is the best day. Saturday is the day of the week where people are off of work. They maybe got their paycheck. They are experiencing freedom for the first time that week. And they are more likely to be in a good mood and go to the mall and drop money on something, right? And if you are there with your smile and your polished demo and you show them a product, maybe they're with their friends. I should do another video on group theory. It's pretty interesting. But you show them all a good time and you handle the group and you manage the group and you give the group a deal, it's likely that they will walk away from that interaction with a bag and one of your products in the bag, and you will have an additional several $100s in your cash register. Saturday is generally the best for that. That does not mean you cannot make sales on the other days of the week. It's just that on Saturday it's easier to stop people and easier to sell them stuff. And then finally, I had 11 here, but I'm like tired. Finally, Indians. Shout out to my Indians out there. You guys are the worst customers. Like actually the worst. The worst. Nobody is worse than Indians. Sorry, Indian people. I'm not trying to be racist. I love Indian food. Indian people are nice, but like so tight with their money. Why are they the worst? Okay, it wouldn't be so bad if they were just tight with their money and didn't want to buy anything, right? But they give the appearance of, they seem like an interested customer. They seem like somebody who might actually buy. Like what are the signs of somebody who's interested in what you're selling? They appear interested, they have a lot of questions, they ask a lot of questions, and they spend a lot of time with you. So it's not uncommon for new salespeople to spend 20, 30, 40 minutes even with an Indian person, engaged in a conversation, and have them walk away at the last minute with some like ridiculous excuse and not actually buy something. And then, there's a little bit of bargaining involved. So like, let's say you're down at your minimum price because you like spent like 40 minutes talking to this person, you're already down at the bottom, and they say no and walk away, and then they come back like 20 minutes later and offer you a ridiculous price that you can't accept. Like, let's say the minimum is like $100, right? And they come back and you're like arguing, pushing, they say no, walk away. And they come back later and they're like, can you do it for 60? And you're like, no, I can't. Like, you can't even do it for 100, really. Like, 110 is your minimum. But like, you say 100 and you'll just like pay the extra $10 out of your pocket just to get something out of these people. You're like, your manager says it's okay, whatever. And then they come back with like this insultingly low offer, and you just wasted a lot of time. So like, again, I knew of one girl who had, she like figured out how to sell to Indian people. She like, the only person I'd ever met who like figured it out. But like, other than that, I never met anybody else who did it. And not to say that you never sell to Indians. Occasionally I would sell to Indian people. Occasionally. 1 in 50 would end up buying. And also, special shout out to Indians who are not actually from India, okay? I would always sell a lot to Indians or people of Indian descent who were from Fiji or Mauritius or really anywhere that's not India. Like even places like Nepal, who I know are not technically Indian, but like there's some like similarity in how they look with some of them, and Sri Lanka, right, also very similar. Pakistan, not so much experienced Pakistanis, but like Indians from those other countries, generally actually easy to sell to, shockingly. So I would always get in the habit of asking people where they're from, right? Even if they talked like Indians, they sounded like Indians, like, oh, cool, where are you from? Oh, Fiji? Awesome. Continue with the demo, full power, full enthusiasm. If they say fucking Bangladesh, which I know is not India, but like they say Calcutta, I'm from Calcutta. Okay, cool. Here it is, it's $300. Do you want it? No? Okay, bye. You know, finish with them easily. Whew. Anyway, those are the top 10 things that I learned from working in sales, specifically the beauty industry. If you guys have any questions about that, I don't know if you do or if this video will actually be popular at all. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Let me know, leave me a comment, tell me what you would like to know specifically about maybe some other aspect of working in commission-only sales, face-to-face sales, sales in the beauty industry, kiosk sales, something like that. Trying to branch out a little bit from doing review videos, some other stuff also, right? You guys got any questions? Let me know, leave me a comment. Peace.